record.
Awesome. Okay. so I'm Jeremy again, for the people online. But yeah, we're gonna be. I'm vice president of Artificial Intelligence Club, and our first meeting is tomorrow, Wednesday, at 5 p.m. In Dempster Hall, room 26. But we're a club that we're focused on projects and learning more about artificial intelligence. And Python is the leading language for artificial intelligence. So
And
we'll be
let
learning
me
that.
just add a couple of more, okay, before you move on. Yeah, Python is very cool, okay. And if you go to that session, you will see a lot of very concise kind of writing in Python with just a single statement, but maybe you can do more than 5 tasks. You will see that's beauty, okay? And that will also
really
help you tremendously later on for CS2 for our Java.
Definitely true. So in artificial intelligence, you can get like a basic model up and going in like 5 lines of code, which is really nice to do in Python. So that's why we like to use it. And then, yeah, so after the first meeting, we're gonna have more of a focus on projects. And if you show up to the first couple meetings, then you'll have a say on where we're going. But we have some ideas. We can do like artificial intelligence competitions online, practical projects like image recognition to solve a certain task, or just like fun exercises that we find online. And yeah, so we just want to learn more about artificial intelligence and just apply it.
Very nice. Okay. So hopefully anyone interested can join Jeremy, okay, for their club. They have a lot of fun. It's a good opportunity for you also to get to know a lot of friends. Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy.
No problem.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so today we will learn more, okay, about class. And the last class, I remember we discussed quite detail about instance variable, instance method, class variable, and the class method, is it? And I believe you know the difference, is it? Because in your lab 3, you will do it on your own, and you will you will get the first-hand experience about the difference, okay? And then today we will learn, because so far what we learn class, we just define a class, is it, in a Java file, and then we create a second Java file. So generally we call it driver, is it? So you have a Java file. Notation. You have a .java file for class definition, is it? And we have a second Java file, another .java file that contains main method, is it? And generally, and we call that a client program or an application program, is it? And a driver, okay, a driver. Okay, so that's, so far we have learned, we just learned a single class definition. A single class, is it? But in the real world, that's just nothing, is it? In the real world, for a single project, you have probably hundreds of classes, is it? How are we going to handle all of that? So that's what we are going to learn today. So if you take a look here, I have the class. I have a class called date, is it? So nothing new here. And then instance variable, a month, day, and the year, is it? And constructor and blah, blah, blah. But here, if you take a look, the very first statement, And we have something called package, is it? So if you take another look at my file structure in NetBeans, is it under source package, is it? I have another package called date, is it? So these two match with each other. Okay, match. And later on, you're going to see I have another package called employee, and I have some other Java file defining their class. And then we have our own driver, the client program. So over here, we have a different package, okay? So this data class is defined inside this package, okay, inside this package. Okay, nothing, let's take a look at the data class then. So here, let's see. The data class, nothing new here. Those are instance variables. Instance variables, is it? And we will come back later here, okay? And this one is constructor, so you already learned, is it? And there's a parameter for this constructor. So over here, we have a constructor with some arguments, okay? Then you do some assignments, is it? And then you do system data print, is it? So nothing new here. And then next, let's see. This is constructor, okay? And so over here, we define a method called check months. And this method returns some integer value, is it? And it's defined not as public, as private. Yeah, so that's also fine. Is the instance method you defined as private, is it? And as parameter, it just want to check if this value you passed in as month value is legal. Is it? Month value can be from 1 to 12, is it? If it is in this range, that's legal, is it? And for this one, don't worry at this point. Later on, we are going to learn this, okay? Try catch block and throw statement, is it? So that's later topic. But temporary, you just take it, okay? So if this value is illegal, it's just going to throw some exception we call illegal argument exception, because that's not a legal argument. Okay, and then next, let's see. Then we have this toString method. Is it? It's public as usual, just output. Is it? And here, I remember previously we also learned is that if you want to form a formatted string, you can call string.format. Is it? So this percentage matches the corresponding variable, is it? And this D or S, is it? It matches, or F, is it? It matches its string or floating, is it? Or in this case, D means int, is it? So the data type, okay. So this method is quite simple. And then next, let's see, over here, we have another private method we just call a check date. It's private, is it? Check passing date. And for day, it's a little bit of more complicated, is it? Depends on which month, is it? Because in January, you have day from 1 to 31, is it? For February, then it's complete. It can be 28, it can be 29, is it? And if it's April, then it's going to be 1 to 30. Is it? Also depends on if the year is a leap year, is it? So for day testing, it's a little bit of more complicated, is it? And then let's go back to take a look over here. Here you see, in this part, we also define some private, called days per month, is it? And what is this over here? And it is what? This is an integer array. Is it? It didn't specify size, is it? So this array is defined. So declared and initialized at the same time, is it? Same time. So in a single statement, as it does declaration and initialization, it doesn't call new array, is it? But basically, this tells the program to do new, is it? To allocate 12 values, is it? 12 elements, is it, for this array? Okay, but over here, if you take a closer look, you have this specific keyword, static. And previously we say static is related with class, is it? Yeah, so this is a class variable, but not just stop there, because class variable, you can modify it. But here we have another very important keyword called final. So if you add this keyword final there, that means you cannot change this, okay? So basically this serves as constant. A constant. Basically this is a constant array, okay? So it's not changeable. You cannot change it, not like a regular class variable you can change, is it? This you cannot change because it's already defined as final, okay? So that's what this days per month's purpose here. And then the days per month, it's just matches, is it? 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, so it has 13, is it? It has 13, I'm sorry, okay. Let's start at 0, okay. So this is January, and then February, is it, to December, is it? So it lists the number of days for the corresponding months, is it, using an array. It's quite convenient here. But for February, it's changing. Sometimes it's 29, is it? Yeah, so then that's why over here we have this method called check day. Is it the check day method? The check day need to make sure day is greater than 0. Is it? And the day need to also be in the corresponding range of the value from the array. Is it? And over here you see the nice part for that, because you have months, is it? So you just pass in the specific months, and then you can get that month's legal range of the days, is it? So it need to be in this range, then you can. But there is exception if the month is 2, is it? If the month is 2, then it may be 29, is it? And depends on if it's a leap year or not, is it? So here's the definition, okay? So that's the general structure about this class. So we have this public constructor, okay? The check month, check day, private method, is it? ToString is a public method, okay? So that's regarding this one. And then next, let's take a look at the employee. Let me check with you right now. Can you see this employee class?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good, good. Because I don't know, I share screen, I change it if you were. So you now see this employee, is it? So you and me are in the same page. Okay, very good. And then let's see here. Like I just explained, is it? If you take a look at my project structure, is it? The employee.java file, it's in a different package, is it? This time the package is called employee, is it? And it's public, the class is defined inside this package. And because for this employee, we want to know employee's birth date and hire date, is it? So we are going to use that date class as the data type. So that's why we are going to use that date class. Use the date class that we defined before. Is it? We defined before. How do we do that? Is it? So you can put the date type. Is it? So birth date, hire date, the type is date. But if you just do that, that's not enough. You also need to do import. Okay. You need to import that class. Okay, before you use it. Is it? How do we do that? That's the class name. And it's belong to what? Different package. So you need to give the complete class file path. Is it? So this is the package name. So that's why you need to specify the import date dot date. Okay, so that's how we get access. Otherwise, you will not be able to access. Okay, so for the employee class, the first name, last name is quite simple. It's just the name type is a string. Is it? So over here we define those instance variables. So we have 4 instance variables. Okay, for instance variable. And then next, let's see. Then this one. This count. And what is this? So who still remember this? What is this? Count. What's the difference between count and the first name, last name, birth date, and the hire date? Who still remember?
It's a class variable.
Very good. Yeah, it's a class variable. Okay. So this is a class variable and it's initialized as 0. Okay. So we know that. Very good. And then next, let's see here. We have the constructor, is it? So this constructor has what? Has a parameter list, is it? And then you just going to assign, is it? And then over here, you also increment the class variable count. You want to know how many employees created, is it? So nothing new here. Pretty straightforward also. And then let's see. At this class, we also have the toString method, just formatted the output, is it? The S correspond last, so nothing new. And we have this get count method, and it's static. Is it just return that instance variable? Okay. And then let me show you something to see if we can do that. Okay. Before I do this, this is class method. Is this suppose I want to do something like this? Out dot dot dot, and I just want to first name. And did you see if I do something like this, and it has an error report, is it? You may see how that happens. Is it? Let me get rid of what did you see? It says the error report is a non-static variable cannot be referenced from a static context. So here you need to be careful, okay, even it's in the same class, okay, in the same class. You see, for this toString, this is called the instance method. Is it? Instance method, it can access instance. Access instance variables. Is it? And it can also access class variable. Okay. So it's legal. This is the class method. class method, is it? So it can access class variable, but cannot access instance variable here, is it? And the instance variable belongs to some instance. Is it belong to some instance? So that makes sense. That's why it cannot, okay? But it's very subtle here, okay? It's very subtle here. If I change it to something like this, then let's see. Suppose here I have employee P E, okay? And then over here, I the PE dot. Then did you see? If you have an instance, so this is an instance of employee, is it? Then that's fine here inside the class variable, okay? So you need to be very careful, okay, when you play around with the class method, class variable instance. Okay, so that's just some side notes. Okay, let me get rid of this. But you cannot do this. You can also not do this dot first. That's also wrong because there is, okay, so that's a very good question. Anyone knows why here if I type this, does that make sense? Does that make sense? In get count method, I type this. Does that make sense? Anyone knows the answer? What is this? This is what? This is basically some instance, is it? It's the object itself, is it? But this is method is what? It's a class method. So it refers to this whose, is it? So that's why it's wrong, okay? So be very careful here, subtle. Okay, then let's get rid of this one line. Okay, so this is fine. This is our employee class. Okay, we know that. Then let's go to our driver to take a look. So this is the client file, is it? This is our third file, is it? And it's in a different package, is it? Different package. And inside this driver, this is our driver, or we call it a client program, is it? And we have main, is it? That's how your app is entry point, is it? We in operating systems always depends on main, is it? And okay, because we in this client program, we will use employee and date, is it? But both employee and date, they are in different package. Different package, is it? That's why you need to import them when you want to use. Okay, you need to import those package. Okay, just like you remember the scanner class, is it? You want to use, then you need to import it, is it? Okay, so we import both class, and after you import it, is it? And then let's see over here. Over here. So the first line is just some print, is it? And the print what? It's employee dot get count. Why here it's called employee dot get count? Why it doesn't call some instance dot get count? Who knows the answer here? Why here it's called employee dot get count?
Because it's a class method.
Yeah, very good. Okay, this is class method. Keep that in mind. Okay, and then let's see. Here we have these two variable. Is it? What are those two variable? Local variables. Okay, the type is what? Date. But they refer to what? Refer to date objects. Is it you create to date object? And then we create this employee. Is it? This is an employee variable. It refers to what? Refer to an employee. And this employee name is Susan Bake and has the birth date and the hire date. Is it? Then I output this employee's information. Is it? So pretty straightforward here. Okay. And then let's take a look at the second part. Second part similar. Is it? I have second birth date, hire date. Is it? And then I create second employee, Bob Phillip. Is it? With the specified birthday and hire date. Is it? Okay. And then over here, then just pretty straightforward. I just call E1.getCount, E2, and employee.getCount. So what do you think E1.getCount will give you? And E2.getCount will give you, and employee.getCount will give you. So what will be answer here? Who knows the answer? So the printf will output what? What is the value we will get here? Who knows the answer? What we will get? What is the number we will get here? The get count? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 500.
In the last one?
All three of them. E1.getCount, E2.getCount, and employee.getCount. All three of them. What will be this?
Would you be able to show the method again?
Oh, the
I don't
method.
remember.
Okay, let's get back. Hold on. Okay. The employee, the count, and that's get count. Just return that count. And the count in constructor, it does increment by 1.
Yeah, then it will be 2 for all 3.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so it will be 3. Oh, no, it will be 2, 2, and 2. Is it? It doesn't matter. Is it because it's a class variable? Is it? So be careful here. Okay, so it's going to be all 2. Okay, with all 3. Okay, so basically this example itself, you will see it's quite simple, but let's go back.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, please.
Can you go back to
Main?
yeah, the one you were just
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
the E1.getCount, that's the object that's owning the method, right?
E1.getCount.
Right.
Because getCount is class in a class method.
Right.
It's not an instance method. So, but the instance method can also access it. So here we shouldn't say it belongs to E1. That's a different story with the toString. Like this toString. Is it? This toString. This toString belongs to E2. Okay, but we shouldn't say this getCount belongs to E1 or E2. Yeah,
I don't
please.
understand the difference between that.
You don't understand the difference between the because instant method got to belong to that object. Class method, it belongs to everyone. So it's kind of like the shared. So it's shared among all of the objects. So it doesn't belong to specific that E1 or E2. So that's why over here you can also do employee data get count, but you cannot do employee data to string. But with the class method, the difference is you can also use instance to access the method. That's just access. But the ownership relationship, you shouldn't see it is the owner of this method is E1 or E2. That makes sense. Even though we do use the dot, still doesn't make.
No, I get it.
Now you get it. Very good. Okay, very good. Okay, then let's see. You get it. Okay, then let's get back to the data class. Okay, data class, we have constructor date. We have check month, it's private, is it? Check day is private. ToString is public, is it? Okay, so now my question is, over here we have birth, we have hire, is it? Can I do something like a birth dot check day? In main, can I call birth dot check day, birth dot check check a month?
No, it's private.
Yeah, very good. You cannot do that, is it? It's the fancy word for that is which word? Why those two methods you cannot call here? What's the fancy word what we learned? That's kind of very hard to remember. Is it starting with E? What's that word?
Encapsulation.
Very good. Yeah, it's encapsulation. Is it? So the check day, is it? Method, it's not accessible here. It's because of what? Encapsulation. Capsulation. Okay, information hiding. Is it? So now you see more, is it? So you can design, when you design the class, so the point here is, when you design, that's why we have the UML, is it? When you design, you need to plan well, is it? Which instance variable I want it to be private or public, and which instance method I want it to be public or private. So you can determine the visibility of that instance variable or method. Okay, so that's some side notes. Okay, and then let's go back to the data class again. Okay, in this data class, let's see if I can get this back. In this data class, if you take a look, did I miss a lot of things that that we learned? Is it? We don't provide any accessor and mutator. Is it here? We just provide a constructor, two private method and the ToString. Is it? We didn't provide any accessor and mutator. Is it? Okay. And the accessor, so over here, if I want to then basically for this case, the only way you want to know is through the string, is it month, day, and year, is it to know the value. But that's enough, a lot of cases, is it? Later on we will explain why this method don't have the the mutators, is it? So this class here, basically it only has constructor and toString, is it? So this class only has accessors, is it? No mutators. The accessor is a toString method, is it? So basically just think about it. Once this class, once an object of this class is created, can you modify that object any further? So once an instance of date created, can we modify it later on? Who knows the answer? Can you modify it?
You mean modify its variables?
Yeah.
What do you mean by?
But you suppose you provide you want to change its month or day or year with this class. Can you change it?
If you have methods,
We
you
don't
can.
have method, just based on the current one, the current design. Based on the current design, can we? So
Only through constructor?
no, can you just think about, okay, let's go back here. Go to the driver. Let's go back clear. In the driver, is it? So now my question is birth. Birth date is 1950, July 25th, 1950. Can I change? Can I change? Can I change Susan's birth date here? You cannot change, is it? Because there is no modification function, no mutator for the date class, is it? So this kind of special case, this class is an immutable class. Immutable, is it? You cannot change it. Okay, later on you will also see, like the string class we learned is also belongs to this called immutable class, because there is no mutators. No mutators. Okay, that's some side notes. Okay, then just think about, suppose over here I add the function void. Suppose months for simplification, okay. And over here I called months, okay. And then I do something like this. And it's month equals okay, months. I do this, I add a set months. Okay, I add a set months. And then let's go back here in employee class. Is it? Employee, if you take a look, I only have constructor, I have toString, I have get. So employee class currently is also an immutable. Immutable. Is it immutable? Okay, let me add something here. Okay, I'm going to add a public date, birth date, get birth date. 。 And what that we'll do is return birth date. Okay, here. And then let's go back here. Is it to go back here? Then let's see. We have that birth object date. Is it? Then I can call what? Set month. Is it? Set month. And suppose I just call it negative 100 something. Is it? It's anyway, it's an integer value. Is it? Okay. Then now just think about it. Here is a very good scenario for you all to think about it. So Susan's birth date. So Susan, is it? Susan born on 1950, July 25th, and hired on 1985, January the 1st. So now if I do system.out.print, I print Susan again. So will this two print out the same? This is going to be a very good question for you all, okay? Okay, let's stop here today. I don't want to continue. You can go ahead to think about this question. Any question before before I stop recording and share screen? This is fun, okay, for you to think about it. Based on your current knowledge, if you think very hard, you should find a solution. So tomorrow, tomorrow we are going to have lab. So Thursday, let's discuss it. Oh, so this week, you remember I said we switch Monday and Thursday session, okay? So Thursday, we are going to have lecture because yesterday I had the department meeting. So we had the lab session. So, or anyone here already have the answer? Okay.
I think it's gonna change.
Yeah, you think it's going to change. Okay, very good. Okay. And can you prepare something on Thursday, okay, to explain to me why it's changed? Better draw a diagram to
Right now?
If you want, yeah. Do you want to?
Well,
try?
I can try. So
okay. Okay, let's hold on. Let's do this. I'm going to stop sharing. I will let you share your drawing. Do you want to try that?
I don't have your code. I don't think I can share.
You don't have code. Oh, you don't have the code. So
I don't think I can answer your question.
Okay, but anyway, then we run out of time. We just have 1 minute.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so how about Thursday? Okay, Alex, you get that ready and
that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Thursday you share your solution for this question. Okay, very nice. Any other